all these outrageous crimes involving these high-level officials in this town. How does that connect back to the sheriff shooting the judge?
Well, I think the important key to remember is that earlier in this week, there was a deposition. My client was to give a deposition in the civil case. Leading up to that deposition, there's multiple witnesses, family, members of the community, folks that he worked with that saw my client in the struggle, the stress, the strain, the sleepless nights he had. He felt very much threatened about what he might say. Would he say too much that would put his family in danger? You heard Sabrina Atkins in that interview just before you switched to speak with me. She talked about the dangerous men there. So this deposition takes place on Monday. And as the week goes on, Mickey continued to be in fear that he had said something or that, further discovery in that civil case would something he would say would ruffle the feathers of some dangerous men. And ultimately, he was in fear for the safety of his wife and his daughter. And I think what you see there is the result of that.
Yeah, and just so people understand, there was this civil lawsuit ongoing. Again, I talked about the corruption and the deputies accused of having sex with inmates and all sorts of shady stuff. So there's the civil suit that's ongoing. There had already been a criminal investigation and arrests, and the sheriff was being called in for a deposition, and you're saying that he was concerned about it. Did he have information about other high-level people, perhaps even the judge, that were involved in all of this? Is that why he was so concerned?
Well, I think the bigger concern was from other people as to what he might say. And I think certainly there was information that Mickey had that he knew that other people didn't want to be made public. And if, in fact, they felt that some of the stuff that he said during the deposition hurt them or exposed them for what they were doing, then, there certainly was a threat that Mickey perceived, one that was both perceived and real. And, he was afraid for the safety of his wife and daughter.
Were they trying to pin any of these sex crimes on him? Does that play into it?
Well, I think the bigger concern that we're talking about here, I've not seen any evidence that my client was implicated in any of the corrupt sex practices that they had. I've not seen anything to that degree, but the fear was that Mickey is under oath. What will they ask him? What will he say in response? Will he talk about? You're talking about a district judges' chambers where there's a live security feed as a result of what was going on back there. That's unheard of. And it just speaks to, the level of things that were happening behind the scenes that these folks would very well could cause physical harm to keep secret. And Mickey was placed in this situation, and simultaneously, because of the stress, because of other factors that I don't want to get into tonight, but his mental health had taken a toll as well. And so what you see is a result of both extreme pressure that was placed upon him, the fear of what other people might do around him, and the impact of mental health as well.
Did he know something about the judge being involved in all of this and this whole sex scandal? I mean, is that why he did this? I mean, because like you said, he knew he was on camera. I mean, he was right in the chambers. Is there something he knew about this judge?
I think that certain people within that community were concerned that he would say things that will be harmful to the people surrounding the judge and the folks in the courthouse at large. And what you see is the result of a man who believed that his wife and daughter had been or would be kidnapped or killed and hurt. And, at that point, he had not been able to get in contact with them, and he was scared for their safety. And, and that's why we said from the beginning, this is classic EED at worst, and at best, we think it's a criminal responsibility, insanity defense that's there.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.